When I was in high school and college, it was not uncommon to hear teachers usually talk about cheater mouthpieces. And they were always aimed at commercial style mouthpieces because that was cheating to use that if it helped you play in the upper register. In fact, when I went to college, I was supposed to take lessons from the head of the music department, and I went to my first lesson, and he said, okay, what mouthpiece are you playing? And I showed him. It was a Reeves and a commercial mouthpiece. And he said, oh, that's unacceptable. He goes, that's a cheater mouthpiece. He goes, I'm not going to give you any lessons till you come back with a Bach 1.5C. So go away and come back next week with a Bach 1.5C. Well, I was pretty bugged by that, and I left, and I decided I'm not going to get a 1.5C. And so I went back the next week for my lesson, and he said, did you get a 1.5C? And I said, no. And he said, why not? And I said, because it's a cheater mouthpiece. He goes, what are you talking about? I said, well, the 1.5C makes it easier for me to sound like a classical player, doesn't he? He goes, yes, exactly. I said, well, that's cheating, isn't it? Well, he didn't like that, so I ended up not studying with him, and I studied with Don Hazard, who was principal in the symphony. By the time I got to my lesson with Don, and I knew Don, but he'd heard the story of what I had said, the blasphemy I had committed by calling a Bach 1.5C a cheater mouthpiece. But he said, well, what are you playing? I said, I'm playing a Reeves. And he goes, you don't want to be a classical player, do you? I said, no. He goes, well, that mouthpiece is fine. Let's get to work. So we had a great time, and I learned a lot from him. Anyway, now, a lot of years later, like 40 years later, I realized that, you know, maybe there are cheater mouthpieces if you want to define it that way. But to me, that would be the right tool for the job. If you want to be an orchestral player, you want gear, trumpet and mouthpiece, that makes it the easiest for you to sound correct in an orchestra. The same goes if you're playing in a rock band or playing in a big band or playing in the studios. So you'll see studio players have different gear sometimes depending on what sound they're looking for, what the gig is. And so I believe that a cheater mouthpiece could actually be a good thing. If you find a mouthpiece or a mouthpiece and a trumpet that helps you play easier in a big band or play and sound better in an orchestra or in a quintet or whatever you're doing, that makes sense to me. So I really believe in finding the right gear for the right job. And that goes from person to person too. The right gear for the job for this guy isn't the same as the right gear for the same job for someone else. So anyway, that's what I think about it. Cheater mouthpieces are a good thing. Cheater gear is a good thing. And if you go down in the links, we've got some tools on our website where you can find the correct cheater mouthpiece or trumpet for you in your situation.